everybody, and welcome to the Hanferd Files. This one is entitled The Man Who Brought Fish. Now, before I start reading this story, I want you guys to know that these stories are based on fact and truth and all that good stuff that Jesus and the bear gives us every day. A few years ago, I accepted a job as a manager of a little shop about an hour from the city I was living in at the time. Commuting wasn't a viable option, so I rented a little apartment about a mile from the quaint downtown area where the shop was located. Unfortunately, the job wasn't a good fit for me, so I decided that I would move back to my previous city once the lease was up on my apartment. The following events took place in the remaining 2 weeks at the job and in that town. The shop I worked at shared an alleyway with a bar that I had never visited in almost a year working next door. One night after I closed, I decided to walk over for a drink. I had never been to a bar by myself before, so it felt a little awkward, but hey, there's a first time for everything. I took my place at the bar, next to a man who seemed engulfed in the baseball game, and ordered my drink. I stared idly up at the TV, and the man next to me made some sports-related comment. I really didn't know anything about baseball, which is basically my response to him. We were then entangled in a conversation which I didn't mind. We introduced ourselves, and we'll call him Tim. Tim seemed nice enough, probably twice my age, but no immediate red flags. We mostly talked about our jobs, which in retrospect was careless because I mentioned that I worked next door. I finished my drink after about 15 minutes of chatting, and he offered to buy me another one, which I declined, and got up to leave. He asked for my number, which I also politely declined. Then he said that we should at least take a picture together. Again, I politely declined, but he proceeded to prepare his phone. He sent his arm phone in the hand and said, "Smile." This is when the weird vibes kicked in. Anyone who has had first-hand experience with creeps, as I have had lots, knows that they could be very volatile. Situations of a creepy nature must be handled with some care. The most unflattering expression I was capable of to drive home the message was that I wasn't interested. He looked at the photo and said dejectedly,
"Oh, that's not good. Let's take another."
He clearly wasn't giving up, so the next time I didn't make a smile, but I didn't smile. I didn't make a face, but I didn't smile. I remained expressionless. He was satisfied, so I just said goodbye and left. Well, why would you let the guy take a picture of you if you didn't want him to anyways? Fucking dumbass. About a day or two went by, and then I had forgotten about the night evening that occurred until one of the staff members came in looking puzzled after a smoke break in the alley. He said,
"I ran into Jim." "Who?" "Your friend, Jim. He was talking like you guys were best buds. You don't know who I'm talking about?"
I was pretty creeped out by the idea that a stranger would approach one of my employees and strike up a conversation about me. But what I heard next sent chills down my spine.
"You guys are the background on his phone."
Shit. Fortunately, the employee who informed me of this alley encounter was kind enough to walk me home that night. A couple more days had passed, and I was hopeful that Jim had lost interest or moved on. I wasn't getting any more reports of him creeping around our alley. Yet, my hope was short-lived. The following weekend, the shop was slammed due to a town-wide event. The night was out the door, and I was filling orders like a madwoman. Suddenly, one of the other staff members approached me and uttered a phrase that was rather puzzling in the midst of all the chaos.
"A man named Jim is here with fish for you."
It took me a moment. I don't get paid for this stuff, you guys. It took me a moment to process what that could possibly mean. I looked up and there was my alleyway creeper who had crept in through the back door, grinning and holding up a white grocery bag. I walked over and asked him what the deal was. He said he thought I might be hungry, so he brought me dinner. I thanked him promptly, excused myself, signing the flurry of customers. Of course I wasn't going to eat the food, brought to me by a total stranger, but curiosity drove to me the least, opened the box and examined its contents. He had brought me his leftovers, his half-eaten fish and chips from the bar next door. At that point, my remaining shifts and days after leaving town were dwindling, so I figured I'd carry pepper spray and watch my back and ride out the storm with the help of my staff. My last direct encounter with Jim occurred during one of my last shifts. He called the store phone, which I always answered. He said something along the lines of,
I see you're closing up. Come over to the bar when you're done.
I declined and hung up. He paced past the windows a couple of times while my employees and I finished our closing work, and once he seemed like he had given up all the other stuff, made sure I made it safely to my car. A few days later, I was on the road with all of my belongings, heading to my old city, relieved that I was escaping Creepy Alley Tim, unscathed. Yet, I wasn't out of the woods yet. I felt the familiar twinge of discomfort the following week when I received a text message from the girl who replaced me at the shop. A girl who didn't know about the situation. Her message read,
Jim stopped by and he misses you. He said you forgot to get his number. Before you left, it's
XXX, XXX, XXXX, and that was the last I heard of Creepy Alley Tim. Since then, I vowed to never go to a bar alone again. Well, if you ask me, this woman isn't the smartest. She could have declined to take the picture and walk away. Even if it was persistent, she could have told the bartender that she was being harassed, and the bartender would have done something. Maybe call the cops. But not smart on her behalf. But anyways, I'll let you guys go. I've got to go. I've got to go.